Hey, all you groovy cats and kittens, it's Beatnik Poetry Night. I'm Beatnik Rick, here to read my poetry to you. Um, I don't know if it's day or night because I literally can't see anything out of these glasses. So, all the best. Let's see who's here. And we're going to, I don't know, let's take a chat about stuff. Hey, everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs. That didn't go well. Let's see who's here. Hey, Guru, how's it going? All right. All right. So, listen, if you're here, say hi. Tonight, I'm going to read you from my portfolio of poetry. Not just hockey poetry, but I've got some other things too. So I've got my what I picked out for tonight. I don't know if I'll get through all this, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and hopefully I can read them well. So there's that. Let's see who else is here. Hey Joe, how's it going? Filibuster Rams. Phil says, "You stinky hippie." I assume that's what a beatnik is. A beatnik. How do I describe a beatnik? If you don't know what a beatnik is, they were kind of the hipsters of the day. So kind of like how hipsters are today. That's kind of what the beatniks were. They hung out in cafes, played a lot of bongo drums, and read a lot of poetry, slam poetry, and shit like that. So as far as I know, that's what a beatnik was. In my day, a little bit before my time, but just a tiny little bit. But that's what a beatnik is. So yeah, I came up with this. I think I was sleeping, and I woke up with this idea. So here we go. There's not a lot happening as far as Habs news. We're just a few weeks away from training camp opening up. And I've been struggling for a few weeks now to come up with topics for Wednesday and Saturday night. And this is what I'm going to do. Most of the poetry I have is hockey, but not all of it. So hopefully it will. It will. I don't know if they were stinky, Phil. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Maybe it's some of the stuff you haven't heard. I've got one new one that I just wrote about training camp, so that'll be added in here. I've got a couple like I haven't even finished, so I might read some of that. I've got my kids' book that I'm still writing. I've got that, but I think I've read that. But I mean, I've read all of these obviously before. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna have a Beatnik poetry reading. What's a beatnik? Can I show? Well, if you look at the, I'm gonna put up the thumbnail again. Look at the thumbnail, top right corner. Those are beatniks. Bottom left corner, that's like a drawing of what a beatnik would look like in the day. I did not have a beret, so I couldn't do that. But that's basically it. You know, they're basically hippies of the day, different kind of hippies. That's what it is, man. Anyway, so if you're here, leave me a message, say hi, and I'm going to get into some poetry. Hey, Eric. Hey, bye-bye. Anyone use AHL channel? Thinking of getting Laval's home and away games for about $90 for a whole season. I don't know anybody who does that, so I couldn't tell you, but I imagine it's good. They might not be that stinky. I'm sure they take baths. I did. Matt's in the room. That's what they got a lot of, I'm sure, Matt. Boo, get off the stage. Hey, groovy, man. Why so uptight, man? Abs for life. What's up? You sound interesting. I sound interesting. I get that I sound interesting, but I don't know how interesting I am. Welcome to the channel, Abs for Life. We try to do different things around here tonight. I'm just going to read some of my poetry that I've written about the Habs, about hockey, about the refs, that kind of stuff. Eric says, like you, Rick, I need something to keep my head warm too. That I don't usually wear something like it. I didn't have a beret, so I was trying to get one of those hats, like not like that. Sort of hangs over to the side, and I couldn't do that. So this is the best I got, which is not very good. So bear with me. Hey, Ronald, how's it going? All right, gonna start off. This first poem I'm going to read you guys. It might be my favorite one that I've written. Now, it's not an original in a way. I rewrote a famous poem called Casey at the Bat. Some of you older people will know that. Some of you younger people might not. It's a very famous poem. I call it Suzuki at the Dot. I was having, I would say I was having a bit of writer's block, and a buddy of mine kind of suggested something like this. And when he suggested it to me, this poem came to my head, and even the name Suzuki at the Dot. And so I rewrote it. I like this one. I don't know if it's my best writing, but I like this one. All right, let's get right to it. Just got to make sure the pages can all come apart easy, because I think, when did I write this? November 5th of 2021. So it's almost 2 years old. All right, Suzuki at the Dot. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Canadiens that day. The Habs were up 3 goals to 2 with but 5 minutes left to play. And then Matthews scored from the slot, and then Mitch Marner does the same. And just like that, Les Habitants are about to blow another game. Half the crowd got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in every Habs fan's breast. They thought, if only Nick Suzuki could get up to that dot, we know he'd win that face-off. That boy sure wins a lot. But Brooks preceded Nick, as did also Jake the Snake, and the former was a leaf, while the latter was a cake. Anger was upon that stricken multitude, their team again running out of luck. Why can't Nick Suzuki find Mike Hoffman with the puck? And then Anderson took off down the ice. His feet, they sure weren't stuck, and Johnny Drew, the much despised, somehow got Anderson the puck. And when the dust had settled and the crowd saw what had occurred, the goalie had the puck and was flipping them the bird. Then from 20,000 throats and more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the rafters. It rang through the Centre Bell. It pounded down Mountain Street and through the parking lot. For Suzuki, Nick Suzuki, was advancing to the dot. There was ease in Suzuki's manner as he skated to his place. There was pride in Suzuki's bearing, and a smile lit Suzuki's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his stick. No stranger in the crowd could doubt that it was Nick. My eyes were upon him as he waited for the puck, everyone applauding and wishing him good luck. Then while the ref was waiting, bent over, puck held at his hip, confidence flashed in Suzuki's eye, a sneer curled Suzuki's lip. And now the ref is ready, the puck dropping through the air. And Nick stood a-watching in haughty grandeur there. But Nick had swiped too early, and the ref, that great big lout, pointed to the side and he threw Suzuki out. From the stands, awash with fans, there went up a muffled roar like the beating of the storm waves upon a distant shore. Kill him! Kill the ref! Shouted someone in the stands, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Suzuki raised his hands. With a smile of Christian charity, the ref gave Nick another chance. He stilled the rising tumult and kept the poop out of his pants. He signaled to the players and again prepared to drop the puck. But Suzuki backed off as if unsure, and the crowd yelled, "What the fuck?" "Fraud," cried the crowd, and the echo answered, "Fraud." But one scornful look from Suzuki and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. And they knew that Nick Suzuki wouldn't lose at the dot again. The sneer is gone from Suzuki's lip. He taps his stick down twice, his concentration on the puck as it drops down to the ice. Both players' sticks come slicing down, their anger pure and raw. The outcome of this match will be decided by this draw. Oh, somewhere in Habs fans' land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, but it sticks right in my craw. There is no joy in Habs land. Nick Suzuki lost the draw. There you go. Suzuki at the dot. That's my favorite piece of work. I don't know why. It's not my most original yet. I mean, it is original enough, right? But it's something about it. Just like, I think I've always liked that poem, Casey at the Bat, when I was a kid. First time I ever heard it or read it. I like that. So I think that's part of why. All right. We'll take some questions. I'm going to get some refreshments. And then we'll got another one after that. Where was I? Matt says, low key, Rick is such an underrated poet. Thank you, Matt. Really good work. Hope you all enjoy. I guess Matt is taking off too. See you later, Matt. I appreciate that. Hey, Larry the Cable Guy. Watching you while listening to the Marshall football game. Not surprised at the Marshall football game. I appreciate that, Larry. All right. Feel free at any time to chip in with a comment. I see we lost some people. I don't think there's as many poetry fans as I would like there to be. But hey, you know what? What can I do? It's what I do. If you are here before you do take off, please give a thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate that. All right, the next one I wrote about a year ago. I'll tell you exactly, as a matter of time. I wrote it, started it in September, finished it October 4th. So it's a training camp poem 2022. You'll find some interesting, like, this is the same things going on this year, right? And then right after that, the new one about the training camp coming up is coming after that, okay? Excuse me. The season starts on October 12th. The Habs will take on the Leafs. Austin Matthews will play with his balls out if he can find them in his boxer briefs. Who will be playing on opening night? What will the lineup be? I hope they announce the captain by then. Will Nick Suzuki be wearing the C? Let's go over the players that are here in camp in these preseason games. I hope they'll be developed correctly. Let's get on with the names. Will Juraj Slafkovsky play in Montreal or will he start in Laval? If he goes to the AHL, he'll join Philip Machard, his pal. Truer this year than last year. Which defense prospects will make the team? I just can't wait to see. Will Barron or Harris or Arbor Jacki make it? It should be a lock for Caden Gooley. Owen Beck has impressed in camp so far. I don't think he makes the team yet. Give it a year or two from now, and he'll make it then, I bet. Caden Primo's not ready. At least that's what he's shown. When do I think he'll make it? The answer's still unknown. What about Cole Caulfield? How many goals will he score? My guess is 35, and I'll throw in 4 more. 39 goals, that's what I predicted. Under Coach Marty, he'll be much less restricted. How about Johnny Drew? Will he break out this year? Drouin will be Drouin. Of that, have no fear. What line will he play on? First, second, or third? If he plays on the first, I'll be flipping them the bird. The defense will be brutal, truculent, and mean. It may be the biggest and baddest that I've ever seen. With Arbor Jacki and Caden Gooley making opponents pay just for crossing our blue line. Hey, get out of our way. It's a development year for the kids on the ice. A season that wins just won't matter. Hey, isn't that nice? We've got to be patient. I know it'll be hard, but the prize at the end could be Connor Bedard. I'm writing this poem about to compare Arbor to Shrek when Matt texts me with the news that the Habs just signed Owen Beck, a 3-year ELC averaging $822K. Man, Owen Beck came to camp and he was ready to play. Some really good talent in camp this year. Let's go over the names once again. Machard and Gooley, Beck and Jacki. Oh yeah, that Swedish kid, Emil Heinemann. As I'm getting ready to record, figuring out just what to do, comes the news that Montreal Canadiens have just signed up Logan Mailloux. I didn't finish that verse for some reason. There's a lot of good talent in camp this year, which is a good problem for the Habs brass. With the opening game versus Montreal, let's go out there and kick some Leaf ass. So Training camp home 2022. Habs life. I like the Habs because Roy got us a cup twice. Yes. Yes, he did. It was a good trade for you guys back then, that's for sure. That's just there. Thank you, Joe. Hey, Ryan. After watching the Habs draft day documentary, I'm really liking Jacob Fowler as a prospect. He is still a few years away, but I think after a few years of NCAA, he'll step right in. I believe, and I did a video about it, and I believe he's the goalie of the future that they've found. They believe he's the goalie of the future. More and more, I believe it too. And I like the attitude he has. I like the competitiveness, the determination to be the best, to prove them all wrong, not in a bad way, but to prove them all wrong, that they overlooked him and they're going to regret it in that good way, that really, the really good way. You see it in this kid. He's smart. He's one of those goalies. He's going to know everything about all the shooters on the opposite team for every game he's in. Like, this kid's going to be great, you know? I really think that they've targeted him as the goalie of the future. Yeah. So Jacob Fowler has gained a lot of my respect. Every time I see him talk or whatever, I see something about him, he gets more and more of my respect, that kid. So, yeah, I agree with that. Ryan Price may stay around and do just that. And I think you're right. That would be awesome. Imagine a kid with that kind of that same kind of head as Carey Price, in that he's cool and calm, confident in himself, and needing to prove. I mean, when Price got here, he had to prove everybody wrong. So yeah, I think it's a very similar kind of, and you know, he can help him a lot, I think. All right. So the next one, I just wrote this. I kind of think I did it in one day because I've only got August 26th. So I've had it for a little bit, and I had to do a rewrite, and I was going to record it, but then I took a week off. So it's going to come out soon. But I'm going to read it here first. It's called Excited for Training Camp. The season is fast approaching. NHL training camps opening soon. Players preparing for the coaching, and their fans over the moon. With all the hope that lies ahead for a season not yet played, will our Habs be Cup winners? No, not yet. But their future success won't be stayed. In Montreal, our management team is trying to build us a contender. Like the Habs of the 70s, that's their dream, the best ever as I remember. GM Kent Hughes, in just his second year, has really turned things around, brilliantly making his deals without fear. We're not the least re-signing Matthews, bunch of clowns. Hey, out there, I'm talking Habs. I'm sure excited for this season. Twitching and itching like I've got crabs. Hear me out. I'll give you my reasons. I'll count them down from 1 to 10. It's kind of counting them up, but and then I think you'll see. Our Habs to watch will be fun, my friend. I'm sure that you'll agree. So let's start off with Nick and Kool, now older by 1 year. How much fun to see them grow and find another gear. Line 1 is set. They're on the clock. But what about line 2? No doubt it's centered by Kirby Dach. He'll play with who? Alex Newhook will be on his left. I think that's who it'll be. A second scoring line, much needed depth. The other side, I think, is Andy. At number 3, look to the net. I'm talking Montembeault. A shot at number 1 he'll get. Will he put on a show? Competition at camp is number 4. So many good prospects here. Will someone be added to the core who'll step up and say, hold my beer? Preseason will be interesting as heck as guys fight for those spots really hard. Slav, Joshua, and Owen Beck, and even Harvey Pinard. At number 5, the sheriff's here. Arbor Jacki is his name. He'll instill lots of fear, and he'll step up his game. The D comes in at the 6th spot, a good mix of veterans and kids. Which 7 of them will get the shot? Which ones might be never dids? Will special teams be any better? Because they couldn't get much worse. The power play and the PK, man, they played like they were cursed. I'm excited for improvement, and I think that we'll see some. Once David, Lane, and Logan arrive, will be great for years to come. I'm also quite excited for Coach Marty's second full year. So are the players, down to a man, happy that he's here. Trade deadline time as a fan should be a lot of fun. A big return for Monahan should please most everyone. At number 10, I want to say Lane Hudson signs in April and gets into some games. He'll start with a bang and be here for many years and over bring us Stanley Cup cheers. There's a lot to be excited about this upcoming season, so I hope you like my top 10 reasons. So tell me yours and give this a like and come watch our shows every game night. So that's that one. I'm waiting. I don't hear. Where's the applause? No, I don't hear any. I'll get back to you guys in a sec. Let's see what we got. Where was I? All right. Feels like loving it. Feels holidays already. No holidays. Yeah, I got a couple of my Christmas ones are in here for holidays. Rick's giving us a poetry reading. Now get out there and do these readings in public. Maybe after my book comes out. Maybe if it ever gets that popular, which I doubt. I love Fowler's Fire. No, I think I read that. Cool. I read that. These poems would be great for pregame motivation in the dressing room. I agree, but I doubt they do. Have Rick go into the locker room and get the Habs fired up with his poetry. I would love that job. Believe me, I'd love it, but I doubt I'll get that. Toronto and Edmonton will be screwed because their stars are too expensive and can't win a cup. No heart. That's what's missing, basically what's missing over there. Beck makes the team and stays. I can see Dvorak moved to the wing when he comes back until we move him. I don't disagree with that. Met Arbor and his brother this summer. Signed my shirt of him rocking Zach Cassian. Awesome, buddy. That's great. They were raising money for charity. I saw that on Twitter, so lucky that you got to see him. Red, white, and blue. The Habs are coming to get you. Maybe not yet, but that could be a motto soon enough. All right. We'll get to the next one. This I wrote not this past July of 22. July of 22. It's called A Good Season to All. Some of these, by the way, I didn't do a rewrite and make them nice and neat, and they're not as legible as I'd like. But I'll do my best. Kent Hughes traded Jeff Petrie and Ryan Poehling for Mike Matheson and a fourth. Hey, that isn't a failing. No salary retained, so they could sign up Rem Pitlick, who we got off the waiver wire and became a great fit. Sick. They need to move out more money, get some salary cap space back to make enough room to sign Kirby Dach. They have to move out some wingers. There are too many here. 13 available to play here next year. There's Gallagher, Dadonov, Hoffman, and Armia. On a couple of those guys, we got to say see ya. Andy and Byron, Pitlick, Slavkovsky. Can't go on much longer, man. I'm exhausted. Caulfield and Drouin. Hey, Mike Pizzetta works hard. In Laval, there's Ulonen and Harvey Pinard. Got to clear out some cap space from these guys here so they can fill out the roster for this upcoming year. So who will go next? Could it be it's Mike Hoffman or Jonathan Drouin? Man, we say that quite often. Could it be one of the kids, Harvey Pinard, or I got to say Ulonen, but they don't make enough money to be the one going? That rhymes with that. Paul Byron is injured, so it won't be him. Cole Caulfield's untouchable. Could it be Anderson? Evgeny Dadonov could go with his cap hit of $5 million, and Yoel Armia too, because he's so frustrating still. One day soon, they'll announce it real quick that they traded the player that drew the short stick. They'll announce that they got cap flexibility back. And then they'll announce that they've signed Kirby Dach. Just today, they announced they signed Sam Montembeault. So I think now in Nets, the team's ready to go. If Carey can't make it to start, have no fear. They'll go with the tandem that played most of last year. As of today, there's still a few holes to fill. Hughes has done a good job in year one of the rebuild. Another right side defenseman would be a good thing that our GM has said the waiver wire might bring. So in conclusion, I'll say this right here. But before I do, go and grab your next beer. I'll just say this one thing that I'll say with delight. A good off season to all, and to all a good night. Short and sweet. Ab says, I hope Newhook works for you. He was useless to us. I don't know that he was useless. He wasn't really used right. And when he did get the opportunity, and I know he did at times, he didn't make the most of it. I just hope Drouin can help fill the void with Landeskog hurt. He did play with McKinnon and Juniors. Good luck with Drouin is all I can say. We had 6 years of him, and 5 of those years it was, well, next year he'll be better. Well, next year, oh yeah, he's going to be good this year. I mean, and he was good. It was not that he was horrible, but he always leaves you wanting more. I don't know why. So good luck with that. Can't wait for the holidays, says Phil. Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you are. Brad Allen said sick. Yeah, it goes there. Next one's a poke at the Leafs. Take a poke at the Leafs. I wrote this year on May 12th of this year. I imagine it's because of May. So May we were still in the playoff. They were still in the playoffs. So probably something to do with that, I guess. My hatred for the Leafs. There once was a team from Toronto. They needed to win a cup pronto. They had Matthews and Marner. They never go in the corners. They can't win no matter how much they want to. The pressure is too intense for them to win, even though Dubas went all in. They are 1-4 at home, and they play like styrofoam. They are brittle if you punch them in the chin. Tonight, their backs are to the wall, and it's going to be a brawl. Will Tkachuk and Marner fight? Man, that would be a sight. Who's in nets tonight? Is it Joseph Wall? It's a limerick, and I didn't read that well. I hope the Panthers win this game and make the Leafs all cry in shame. Dubas went all in. They're a bunch of losers, just can't win, and the fans all fell for it just the same. It's time now for the Leafs to book tea times. Their captain's getting old, not in his prime. Will Austin Matthews stay or will he go away? Will they trade him at the next trade deadline? They should have. Dubas went all in, I do believe. Now he will be let go with Sheldon Keefe. Surprisingly, that's not what happened. What direction will they go? Does anybody know? Except the Leafs can't win a cup. Let's give them grief. Well, Dubas got let go. That's for sure. Can you believe they extended Keefe? I don't know what to say. Phil says Drouin will get more points than anyone on the Habs. But Phil has been kind of saying this about Drouin for a few years. Phil's a big Drouin fan. So you got to take that with, sorry, Phil, with a grain of salt, if you ask me. Old man, 2 minutes for poking? For poking and toking. Poking and toking. That sounds like a song, man. Gallagher or Drouin, which one will have more points and games played? I dare say Drouin. I got to think Drouin to start with. Valerie Nikushkin worked for the Habs. Drouin could do well, and he's not playing in Canada, so he could do well. Well, a change of scenery is going to be, he needs that. I just have this gut feeling he's still going to be frustrating to you guys, like he was here. Yeah, he'll put up 50 points. But he'll put up 50 points, and you'll go, "That's all we got from him." Didn't you expect more from him? Like, that's what happens with Drouin. September is here. Watch out for the stores selling Christmas stuff soon. Rick's Poetry is giving us a gift. There you go. My early Christmas gift is my poetry reading. All right. I love that. All right. This next one is a short one. It's called A 5-Game Streak Could Turn to 9. All right. I think, just one page. My hockey team from Montreal just couldn't win. No, not at all. They hired Marty St. Louis and started winning easily. It started off with the Blues, and before you know it, the Isles too. Next, they raked and burnt the Leafs. A 3-game streak beyond belief. A 4-0 shutout against Buffalo next up. Can you believe 4 in a row? Are we winning the cup? They go up against the Sens in search of number 5. What a time it is just to be alive. They beat the Sens 2-1. This winning streak's been so much fun. I just won't worry about the tank. This streak's been fun, let's be frank. 5 wins in a row. Can we go for 6? Will that affect us getting the number 1 pick? Being first pick overall, a great place to be, but I'd be okay with either Savoie, Nemec, or Slavkovsky. We ended up with Slavkovsky anyway. This West Coast trip should stop the streak. Either the Jets, Flames, Oilers, or Canucks, those freaks. But if the Habs keep on winning, these teams dropping down the line, then this 5-game streak could turn into 9. Okay, it's getting crazy. I'd better stop, or I'll have the Habs winning the Stanley Cup. But before I go, I just want to say, stay safe, peace out, and thanks for watching today. There you go. Nice short little one. Ryan says Drouin's career high, 53 points. Yeah, he'll give you, he'll give you 45 to 55 points. That's a Drouin season. Puddings and mince pies are available in supermarkets already. You know what? They're not usually. When you say mince pie, that must be a little like our tourtière, right? So tourtière, and that's definitely a holiday thing. So. But when you say puddings, I don't know if it's the same. We have that here. The Avs are so good that they can hide Drouin and take what they can get from him. I imagine they can. We'll see what happens, I wish him the best. I think maybe his best is that 53. I don't know. We'll see. Next one up is called A Bag Full of Pucks and a Zamboni Tire. I saw that line somewhere. I don't know if I made that up, but I think I saw the line in something like I read, and I went, I'm going to do a poem called that, and I made it into a poem. Habs management working so hard every day. Gordon and Hughes just toiling away. A rebuild, a reset, a retool, and such. A reno, a makeover, a boob job. Hey, what? They traded to Foley to signal the launch of whatever you call this that they've embarked on. It doesn't really rhyme. A rethink, a redo, a replan or two, a change-up, a remix, the old switcheroo. Who will move out? Which guys will stay? How will you feel if that guy gets traded away? What's the return? Who did we acquire? A bag full of pucks and a Zamboni tire? What do you think they'll call? What do you think they'll call what they do? A rebuild, a reset, a major retool? In the end, does it matter? Is any milk spilled? Nope, not if you call it what I want to. It's a rebuild. That was a short and sweet. Not read very well. By the author, of all things. I'd say Drouin versus Caulfield. Can Caulfield put as much goals as Drouin can put up assists? That is the question. Yes. In Drouin's 53 points, career high, it wasn't 53 assists. It wasn't 50 assists. I believe Cole Caulfield's going to make a run at 50 goals this year. Then, yes, he'll put up more goals than Drouin will put up assists. Unless Drouin has a breakout year and he, which is possible. I'm not ruling it out. I just I got to see it to believe it. Your GM is a genius and doesn't get enough credit. If Canada wins a cup, my money is on the Habs. I've said this in the last 2 years a couple of times. Habs will win a cup, the next Canadian Cup, and definitely win a cup before the Leafs. Mince pies are minced dried fruit pies. Nope, not the same. And puddings are those puddings made from dried and glazed fruit. Totally different. That's nothing like we have here. So we definitely can't tell the holidays by that because that's never in our stores unless it's specialty stores. What do you think the lines will be if Newhook plays well as our second line center? I don't think he's playing second line center. I think he's playing second line left wing. Only the training camp will tell. I don't see what I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't play him there. But listen, if that's how it ends up, I'm not going to be upset. Coach knows what he's doing, but I don't think that's how it's going to end up. Drouin's career high is 35 assists. Caulfield is good for 35 to 50 goals. If he remains healthy, he's going to score more goals than Drouin will get assists. What will Habs brass think if the team ranks once again at the top? At the top in injury time? Hopefully that won't be the case. They'll have to go up higher and remove, and change. They made a couple of changes that I think will be really good and will make a difference. If not, then it's higher up that's the problem. Which means Dr. Mulder, I guess, who runs that. Brad says, who's feeling Newhook on the top line? I don't. How many goals will Caulfield score? I've got a prediction video out already. I've given him 50. I'm not saying 100% that he will, but it's a prediction video. I think he's going to challenge at the very least, make a run at that 50. So if he doesn't hit it 45 or more, that's if he can play a full season. If he doesn't get a full season, that changes everything. But I think he will play a full season. Ryan, I believe the answer to your question is yes. Newhook said it when he was interviewed after he signed the new contract. He said he's played most of his career at center, but he's played some wing, and it's not a problem for him. He's comfortable in both spots. So it'll be, what's the decision? Does Doc play on line one with Caulfield and Suzuki as a winger, or does he center line two? If he centers line two, Newhook's going to be on the wing. Is he on wing on line one or on line two? I think it's line two. Gives you two lines, two big scoring threats. You can't shut one of them down. You can shut one of them down, but not both in general, right? So I think that's the way to go, but that's me. My opinion. Will they do that? I don't know 100%. Joe believes 50 is a possibility for Kool. Do I think Slafkovsky will be better this season? I do. I think he'll play a lot more, and he will be better. And I've given him, 18 goals, 25 assists as output, 43 points. All right, we're going to move on to Christmas time. This is called 10 Nights Before Christmas. I wrote this December 13th, 2021. So about a year and a half ago, a little over. All right. 'Twas 10 nights before Christmas, and all through the Habs house, so much anticipation was stirring for new players, a GM, and director of scouts. The losses were piling up high in the air, and the hopes for a turnaround just weren't there. The coach's system was tearing this team into shreds. The players asking, please simplify it, slow it down in our heads. And Matt in his headset and I in my Habs cap had settled in for the night after our team played like crap. Then at the post-game presser, armed with my double-double Tim Hortons, came the news we've been waiting for out of the mouth of Jeff Gorton. The microphone squelched, The camera started to flash. I scratched at my butt. Was I getting a rash? Did I hear what I heard? What Jeff Gordon did say? Did I hear that he's tired of the way that they play? It's time to make changes, big changes and more. It's time we rebuild. It's time we rebuild around our young core. Rebuild this team to be skilled and be quick. Rebuild around Cole, rebuild around Nick. And just like that, he poured out his plan. Matt whistled. I shouted and called him the man. Rebuild around Anderson, Paling, and Jake. Rebuild around Gooley and Harvey Pinard, for Christ's sake. Rebuild around Norlander, Primo, and Mishak. Ulanen is good. Sami Niku and Brett Kulak. We'll see who will be staying. We'll see who may go. And we'll see who will be calling up to the show. When our team is in place and we've looked at it twice and we know who is naughty and we know who is nice, armed with a plan, good knowledge and trust, armed with a plan, good knowledge and trust, we'll make it our mission. Slavkovsky or bust. I altered that from right or bust. We'll do what we must to make this plan work. I'll even speak French if I have to at work. A bilingual coach and GM, if you must. It's important to me that I build in your trust. We'll go after good players, locally grown, good prospects and draft picks, and make them our own. Develop our prospects and don't do them harm. And I may have to change my decision on not firing Ducharme. We'll keep you informed and be quite transparent, even though some of the moves might be inapparent. And with that, it was over. With that, he was gone. And with that, we all hoped he won't keep us waiting too long. I stuck my head out a window. I wanted to hear if Jeff Gordon had any more words of wisdom and cheer. And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I didn't read that well. I don't know, sometimes. New hook on the left side beside Doc. They can leverage their different shooting. I'm not reading. I can't see very well for some reason. Shooting sides at center to win faceoffs, and they can alternate. Like if it's a, I think New hook's better at faceoffs, but I'm not sure. I think they both might be a little bit in need there, but they'll learn. They'll get better. They'll push each other. And you know, if one guy gets thrown out of the dot, you got another center to go in on both lines. I think that'll be good because I think Monahan goes on line one. I think Caulfield needs a big body on his line. In fact, it would be nice to have size on all lines. Yeah, but the big body would be Anderson. I don't think there's that, you know, there's games where there's good chemistry between those three. There's too many when there's not. And so I don't think that's the body. I think Slavkovsky is the guy that needs to work his way up there, but I don't think he starts there. All right. Next one. Okay, so this is about Tyler Toffoli. If you remember when they, I think they were thinking about, this was when they were thinking about it. So I wrote this on January 31st of 2021. Hard to believe it was that long ago. And it's like time really has flown. All right. Excuse me. It's called Montreal Canadiens, Tyler Toffoli, Trade or Keep. A Talking Habs poem. Tyler Toffoli's a hard name to rhyme, and I've been trying now unsatisfactorily for quite a long time. So let's switch it up to the question at hand, a question being asked through all of Habs land. If the Montreal Canadiens start rebuilding away, which of their veterans will go and which ones will stay? Rumors abound, trading Lecky and Big Ben. I'm not hearing an if they trade, I'm hearing a when. There's another name being bandied about. Some want him to stay and some want him out. His contract is good and he does want to stay. The question here is, will the Habs send him away? It's Tyler Toffoli, of that which I speak. His name has been out there all of this week. Born to be a Hab is something he said. Being a leader hasn't gone to his head. Talent he has in big supply. You need to score goals. Tyler Toffoli's your guy. You can pencil him in every year for a bunch. Yep, teams will be interested. I have a hunch. What should the Habs do with Foley in this spot? Keep him around or give a prospect a shot? Keeping him here might be best for guys like Nick, or would a healthy return, be better, including a first-round pick? If I were the team of Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes, and I had to decide what's the right thing to do, our rebuilding team still needs leaders for the kids to look up, and our Tyler Toffoli has won a Stanley Cup winner, a ring in the room. Some vets will be staying. Hey, Toffoli could too. But a problem arises. He'll be in demand from all the contenders all over this land. Calls will start coming for Gordon and Hughes, asking for Tyler with offers to choose. This team needs to get younger and faster with skill, the kind of team that our new GM says he will build. So, if the decision is mine to make, good or bad, do I want to hang on to this talented lad? Do I want to hang on to the steady point getter? Or do I think that a first-round pick and a prospect is better? On a rebuilding team, yeah, I think that's what you do. You trade out the guys that are easy to move. Get back what you need, top prospects and high picks. Try to turn this around in 3 years, not 6. The quicker the turnaround, the better for fans. Their patience is short, I'm telling you, man. But patience is needed for 2 or 3 years. So sit back and relax and have a few beers. I'm glad this decision is not mine to make. It's certainly well above my pay grade. But it is a decision for Gordon and Hughes. I'll support them in whatever they decide to do. But I'll remember the news that I heard today that Jeff Petrie did ask Kent Hughes for a trade, but Tyler Toffoli had the opposite to say, letting everyone know that he wants to stay. Some veterans are needed to mentor the kids. Being traded, quite frankly, is part of the biz. Trading Tyler Toffoli should bring a nice haul, and my thinking is that it would be the right call. And that's what they did. They traded Tyler Toffoli for that first-round pick and for Emil Heineman. I believe it was Emil Heineman. So, there's my Tyler Toffoli poem. Just to prove that I'm not all caught up in my own self. Bob Cannon in the house. Hey, Bob. How's it going? Where was I? Slavkovsky has done a lot of work in the off season, so that is a positive. I think he'll be fine this year. I think he can develop here, and we'll find out. Listen, we'll see what kind of cap he has. Ryan would like to see Raphael Harvey-Pinard beside Doc and Newhook again. I don't think you're going to see him in a top 6 role. He's not typically a top 6 player. He's a guy that can play anywhere in the lineup, literally, and play there for time, because he played on that first line for a while with all the injuries. But he's typically a bottom 6 guy, but that produces there. So you got a guy that you don't really need him in the top 6. He'll produce in the bottom 6. That's what he does, and I think that's where he plays, in the bottom 6. Toffoli comes back as a UFA next year to finish his career with the Habs. I doubt that. No, I doubt that. It'd be too old. Honestly, I doubt that. It's a nice story, but I don't think that'll happen. But then again, it's not out of the question. I don't think it'll happen. Franco. Hey, Franco, good to see you, man. Got to do an Adam Sandler version. Hanukkah, Rehab's quest for the cuppa. Never thought of that. The Hanukkah song. I love that song. I could consider that. I think I've thought of it actually once or twice. I never really investigated it to do it. So, and you know why? Because of the copyright issue. But the thing is, if I do that, it won't be a copyright strike. It'll be a copyright claim, which means I split, which is fine. It's not going to make any money anyways. And the video can stay up. And so, yeah, I might do that. The Hanukkah song. And, he's got 3 or 4 different versions of that song. So I like that. Awesome suggestion. Bob says, thanks, man. All good. I'm glad to hear. I just got back from a late dinner. happy Labor Day weekend. I should say that. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. I hope you enjoy. For those who are celebrating. For those who are celebrating, it's not my religion, but, for those laborites, what am I don't know what I'm thinking of there. All right, let's get to the next one then. This one it's not one of my favorites. I don't know why. It's just not one of my favorites, and I can't explain it. And I kind of, to me, I'm reading about it. I cringe for some reason when I read this one. And it's not that it's bad, but I don't know. You let me know. It's called Through the Standings to the Cup. You've probably seen it sometimes coming into the live show. I put it up there as a trailer. You might have seen it. All right. There once was a Habs captain named Nick. He processed the game really quick. In the blink of an eye, he'd make up his mind, and a goal would come off of his stick. Nick's left winger is named Kool. For a nickname, the fans call him Goal. His release is so quick, can't see the puck come off his stick, and the goalie can't either. Go Habs, go. The guy on right wing is named Doc. He's no slouch himself with the puck. In the corners, on the boards, he wins pucks by the hordes, and he's also a power play quarterback. They remind me of a line, if you please. This isn't the poem that I was thinking of. That dominated in the late 1970s. They had a trio, Monsieur, Lemaire, Schutt, and Lafleur. They were a nightmare for the opposing team's Ds. We got Uri Slavkovsky at pick number 1. He struggled a bit, but looks like he's having fun. What a draft for the Habs. What the heck? Getting Philip Machar, Lane Hudson, and Beck. And believe it or not, the rebuild's not done. We've got 4 wonderful rookies on D. Jack-Eye, Harris, Kovacevic, Gooley. What a great job they've done. And now there's a 5th in Barron. And their future looks quite good to me. Let's jump ahead to post-All-Star game. And half of the team has turned up lame. And the call-ups from the Rocket have dropped down in the pocket and are earning their 15 minutes of fame. Now the race is on to get to the bottom 5, as the hope to get Connor Bedard stays alive. If there's luck on their stick and they get the number 1 pick, the window opens for Cup 25. Wouldn't it be nice if the team had such nice things, to be so strong down the middle and strong on the wings, with a D that's mobile and mean, to win in the corners and win in between, scoring goals like a wasp that stings and stings. I don't like that line. The future looks bright in Montreal, with the Habs headed in the right direction and all. That direction is up through the standings to the Cup. I'll need a puff of my salbutamol when they win it. What? Now that doesn't make sense. Hang on a second. I think when they win it all. I'll need a puff of my salbutamol. When they win it, I'll need a puff of my salbutamol. That's the puffer for asthma. That's it. I'll read that again. The future looks bright in Montreal, with the Habs headed in the right direction and all. That direction is up through the standings to the Cup. When they win it, I'll need a puff of my salbutamol. All right, that was I wrote that. In conclusion, I just want to say that I'm loving my Habs today. A great prospect pool that's making me drool. I can't wait to see them all play. So long now. Thanks for hearing me out. Let me know what you think this team is about. Leave a comment below, a thumbs up before you go. Thanks for watching now. I'll show you all out. No, don't leave. It's the poem. All right. We're getting through there. We're slogging through all these damn poems. Just slogging through them. How long are we? Wow, that's already an hour. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make. Let's go to some others. I'm going to read this. This is something I wrote. I don't think I've read this. I didn't finish this yet. It's not finished. I don't know if I ever will. I'm going to read it for you guys. I wrote this September 17th, 2022. So almost a year ago. It got no title. I wrote it after we had a power failure. I believe the transformer blew. We had just 2 buildings here on the block, no power overnight. Had nothing much to do. I wrote this poem. Started it anyway. Had a lot of time to do it. I only didn't even finish it. All right. Sitting here in the dark with the power out due to a blown transformer. It's a good thing it's in late summer and the weather isn't colder or warmer. It's rather boring with nothing to do without our digital devices. Tried reading a book, now I'm writing this poem, but now nothing else really suffices. What did I do before this electronic age to make the time go by? Oh yeah, I think I remember now. That's why I started getting high. I guess I sat around and watched TV or went out with friends to a bar. Not really. And if I got really lucky on some nights, not really, I'd meet a girl and make out in my car. This quiet time alone at night with no hum of electricity in the air. I think back to when I was younger, when, believe it or not, I had shoulder-length hair. True. Back in 81, this is kind of a tribute or whatever to Jackson Browne. Back in 81, I was just 18, and the world was a scary place. Now it's 2022 and I'm 59 and I don't recognize my face. Where did the time go? Hey, come on. How could this be? I look just like my father. How can that face be me? Someone once looked for the fountain of youth. I wonder if it was found. I need to go there and dive right in and stay until I'm half drowned. Why do I go to such dark places? In my mind and body, is my mind and body sound? I guess it's a sign of getting older as time speeds up to the final round. And that was the final thing I wrote. That's not finished, though. I read it earlier before coming on, and that's exactly what I said. I read up to the end and go, oh, that's not finished. So it's not finished. But I hope you like it anyway. Where was I? Happy for all the parents getting their kids ready for a new hockey season. Missed it big time. Or you're just happy for all the parents getting their kids out to school and away from home. Why do I think you should be wearing a tie-dye Habs t-shirt though tonight? Because you're right, but I don't have one. Listen, this was my outfit. Okay, hang on, it's coming. And if anybody says Clark Kent, hey. So this was I started out, but I can't read like this. There's no way I can see through these and read. So, with my hat sort of, it's the best I could do. It was kind of a last minute. I thought of it overnight while I was sleeping, and I got to take that off. I'll put my Habs hat back on because that's too hot. So I didn't have a lot of time to plan, but I thought of that. Tie-dye. Why don't I have a tie-dye shirt? I used to wear them when I was a kid. Another one that I didn't finish, and it's about Monty. It's called "Is Monty Our Number One Goalie?" I wrote it this year in May 29th and 30th of this year. And I don't know why I didn't finish it. I think because I put it down and I lost track of it. I just found it this morning, so I was looking through all my stuff. Do the Habs have a number one goalie here yet? The answer is I don't really know. But there's a guy here who'll get the chance, I bet. And his name is Sam Montembeault. He had a huge surge in his performance last season and was outstanding this year at the WCs. If the Habs look better in net, he'll be the reason. He'll be showing off his newfound expertise. He's a guy that the Habs picked off the waiver wire, and you've got to wonder why he was there. Whatever you thought his potential was, it's so much higher. I think a lot of Habs fans are unaware. Monty is his name. Stopping pucks is his game, and he's gotten so much better since last year. He's got a gold medal to his name. Trading him away would be a shame. He's our future number one goalie. Have no fear. He got some tips from Carey Price. His blood runs cold like ice. He's calm and all right, and tracks the puck. He's calm and tracks. Wait a second. He got some tips from Carey Price. His blood runs cold like ice. He's calm and tracks the puck in position, and you're out of luck. Monty is the man stopping all the pucks he can. If the Habs give him a chance one day, he might take them to the dance. That's why I don't really like that. Monty plays the game. Don't you forget his name. Underestimating him is at your team's peril. He's calm, cool, and collected. From the pressure, he's not affected. And one day, we'll all be wearing his apparel. Top 14 in goals saved, above average, not too shabby, behind a young, porous defense to boot. He talks 100 miles per hour. He really is Gabby, and I'm sure that the girls find him cute. That's all I got. Clark Kent. Hey, see? Bob saw it. Thanks, Bob. Where was I? Labor Day is a month away for people in New South Wales, Australian Capital Territory, and South Australia. That's weird. Well, I guess it could be different. Could it be different in different places in the world? I mean, that makes sense. No, like the wasp that stings. How about a bird that signs? I don't get that, Phil. Or some stuff and I don't get that. Red Bull, it gives you wings. That's already taken. Hey, Larry, have a good night. Thanks for being here. Larry the Cable Guy. Phil, was that the word I was looking for earlier? An ode? No, I got a couple. I got two of the odes I wrote. Where is Guess the Hockey Card Game? I did that twice in a row. I'm not doing it 3 times in a row. You were thinking Cheech Marin. Yeah, I get what you mean from the look, but the glasses, Clark Kent, they don't know who he is because of a pair of glasses. That was my point, though. This poem stuff is weird, Rick. That's not for you, Brad. That's fine. Have a good night. Thanks for giving it a try. I appreciate it. And if you are here and you are appreciating it, give it a thumbs up. I'm not going to do that one. I won't do that one. I'm running out of time. Okay, speaking of odes. An ode to Tony O. That was the first one I wrote. Tony O passed away, right? So Tony O, the first hockey player I love so. I can't believe the news today. So sad to see you go. I was just 6 years old when I first saw you play with that black goalie mask and holding your stick the opposite way. A flipper and a flopper. That was the style that you played. One of the first to use the butterfly that they all use today. Being the smallest kid playing hockey on our block, of course, in the net I would go. The goalie stick was bigger than me, but I'd be pretending I was Tony O. 76 shutouts you had in your career. Is there anyone out there with more? Flipping and flopping around on the ice, but almost always shutting the door. You recorded 15 shutouts in your rookie year, a record that still stands today, a record that won't be broken, not in 100 years. No way. Your only cup win was here with the Habs when you backed up Vachon against the St. Louis Blues. You got back there just once in 73, and you lost to the Habs 4-2. You won the Calder Trophy and the Vezina 3 times, played in 6 All-Star games to boot. 76 shutouts and 423 wins. Not bad for a guy from the Sioux. As competitive a guy as there ever was, Tony hated even losing one game. He was still pissed off about 73, even after election to the Hockey Hall of Fame. A small piece of my childhood has come to an end with our loss of Espo today, but the joy he brought me as a little boy will never go away. In the year, what? I think I screwed that up. Yeah, I screwed it. I'm going to read that again. A small piece of my childhood has come to an end with our loss of Espo today, but the joy he has brought me as a little boy will never go away. I'll think of him often in the years ahead, I'm sure, as nostalgic things mean so much more and more. When I think back to when I fell in love with hockey, the first guy I'll think of is Tony O. I didn't read it right. I wrote, instead of more and more, Mo and Mo, so that it, like black people say. That's a bad thing to say. Not only black people say that. The first guy I'll think of is Tony. Yeah, okay, there you go. Before I put my foot in my mouth any further, I was thinking of Mo Better Blues. That movie, when I wrote that, that's what I was thinking of. And I went Mo and Mo. So there you go. Which was directed by a black guy, starring a black guy. So, rest in peace, Mike Bossy, an ode to the purest goal scorer. Mike Bossy passed away, a legend hockey, a hockey dyslexia, a hockey legend, a true NHL star. I'm going to start that over. Mike Bossy passed away, a hockey legend, a true NHL star. It kind of hit like a gut punch, and will leave on my NHL heart a scar. He came into the league when I was 14. He became an NHL star that same year. 50 goals as a rookie, a legendary feat. To Mike Bossy, I raise up my beer. His first 9 years in a row, at least 50 goals scored. In his best year, he scored 69. The purest goal scorer that I've ever seen, and I've been watching hockey for quite a long time. From the very first day that the boss turned pro to the very last game that he played, he was a danger to score every time on the ice, making the goalies afraid. Why do you think you scored so many goals? He was asked on the Hockey Night in Canada set. Without hesitation, the boss simply said, "It's because my shot rarely misses the net." 573 goals, 553 assists, and up to 1,126 points. Hall of Fame member since 92, and 4 times he won the Cup. Yeah, that doesn't work. How did I read that? Oh, I think, okay. 573 goals, 553 assists, and up to 1,126 points. Hall of Famer member since 92, and 4 times he won the Cup. 9 years in a row with at least 50 goals. Retired 5 years before the Isles got Huey Krupp. I don't know what I was thinking. Almost a Hab, believe it or not, one of Sam Pollock's rare mistakes. He picked Mark Napier at number 10 in the 77 draft, while the boss was picked 15th, for heaven's sake. Ranked number 20 of the 100 greatest players ever, a truly fitting spot for the boss. For every hockey fan, young and old, his passing is a huge loss. The purest goal scorer there ever was. You truly were the best. Michael Dean Bossy, I hope it's in peace you rest. And then I wrote, thank you for all the joy you brought to hockey fans everywhere. No matter what team you cheered for, you also cheered for the boss. And that was true. I did anyways. Didn't matter. I wasn't an Isles fan. I always was happy to see when Bossy did well. Okay, I'm going to read. I'm getting to the end. I wrote this for my ex-wife. It started out as I was taking like a video lesson on poetry writing, and it was writing to like your 5 senses, so things you hear, feel, taste, like that kind of thing. Write a poem with that stuff in it. So this is what I got. The birds, they are a chirping. The guy at the next table is burping. On the grill, the burgers are sizzling. The rain outside is still drizzling. The wind is cool. It gives me goosebumps. A dog scares a cat, and I watch as he jumps. I realize how it all affects me today, and I smile to myself and to my partner, say, this day has filled me up with light, and I think, my love, that you were right. It was good to get something to eat, to sit down, and to rest our tired feet. The smell of the rain outside falling, the sound that it makes has me recalling a lovely day from just last year, a day spent with just you, my dear. We spent the day, the two of us, a simple day without fuss, doing nothing but strolling about and ending up like today at our favorite hangout. So I'd like to say to you, my dear, with the passing of another year, there is nothing better that I'd like to do than to spend each day in love with you. Yep. How do we get to Robin Williams down there? There's power in poetry. Google it if you're interested. Really? I love writing poetry. Poetry is okay, I guess, says Phil. If you know how funny that is. Wonder if they are even teaching poetry in elementary and secondary school. I don't know anymore, to be honest. But I mean, it was in it was in elementary school where I fell in love with poems. Agreed, it will be nearly impossible for any goalie to get 15 shutouts in one season. Yeah, that's never going to happen again. As a rookie, also, he did that, by the way. I remember the great Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. Great movie, needs more teachers like that. Yeah, I wish I had teachers like that. I remember poetry during English classes in high school. Usually they were funny ones to keep us entertained. That's probably where I got it from. Rick, you old smoothie, you. What did I do? Oh, the wife's poem? Yeah. Poetry is so different from keyboard warrior, chat jibber jabber. But maybe I'm old school, but Dead Poet Society reference is perfect. I don't know that I'm sure I saw the movie. I don't remember it well enough. Yeah, I'm sure I saw the movie back in the day. I just don't remember the whole thing really. I have to sit and think about that. Okay, this is the last one. Besides that one I read about the I don't know if this is the last one actually. The last serious one I wrote. So this is what happened. I was up for a podcast. We as a group here at Talk Habs were up for a podcast on a pretty big site, paid, under contract, all that. And we've been waiting for a while, and they've been having trouble like with technical problems, and we were waiting, and I was sure we had it. And they hired somebody else, and I found out about it like at 4:30 in the morning, by myself, not the way you want to find out about it. And I was upset, and I didn't think I would be able to go to sleep and everything. So I told myself, instead of being all upset like this, to sit down and write your emotions out. And in whatever form it comes out, but write your emotions. And this is how it came out. It's called Living with ADHD. And my nose is blocked, but I'm sorry. I'm a square peg in a round. I'm going to clear my throat. Excuse me. I'm a square peg in a round hole world. My plans are always coming unfurled. Opportunities arise, but I'm never a fit, and the world squeezes me like a teenager's zit. My emotions get all tied up in knots, my brain overloaded with emotional thoughts. My ADHD is bringing me down. It feels like everybody thinks I'm just a clown. But I know that it's me that's just not wired right. It's the ADHD, it's my daily fight. An overload of thoughts float through my head too. So much wasted time trying to decide what to do. A lifetime of questions. Why am I this way? Why can't the world make sense for just one day? I'm my own worst enemy time and time again. It's not an easy task living with a neurodivergent brain. What am I good at? I really can't say. It depends on what I'm interested in on that day. If my brain is all scattered, I can forget about work. I twiddle my thumbs at my desk and I feel like a jerk. I strive for success, but it could never be found. I put myself out there and get flung to the ground, always getting back up time and time again. That's what it's like living with a neurodivergent brain. That's what came out. I didn't think it was any good. I went to bed. It did the job. I was able to go to sleep. I was fine. I got my emotions out. But I thought it was crap. And then I read it the next day and went, this is not bad, actually. So, yeah, I kind of like it. I'm going to blow my nose. I'll be right back. Now that's better. I can read. I'm going to read what is probably overall the favorite thing I've written. Yeah, I didn't get into I might read these other things. I don't know. We'll see. What are we at? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how many of you saw Ghosts of Habs Past. For me, that's probably my favorite piece of work I've done overall. Totally from my brain. The Suzuki at the dot that I read at the beginning, it was partially from my brain, but not, right? So I'm going to read it to you. It's out there if you want to see the video. There's some pretty good artwork that is used in the video. All right, so it's called Ghost of Habs Past. Walk down my street. It was a rainy night in the last week of May. That's when the Habs ghosts came out to play. One by one, they walked down my street. It was kind of eerie. It was kind of sweet. A long line of players, all of the greats from Canada and Europe and the United States. Players I'd read about in my younger years were all walking, laughing, and drinking beers. What's going on? How could this be? How could Floyd Curry be out on my street? There goes Aurel Joliat and Howie Morenz. Where's my phone? I got to call all my friends. There goes Pitre, Plamondon, and George Vizina. Which way are they going? Hey, they're going to the arena. How come no one else can see what I see? Is this some kind of parade? Is this just for me? The ghosts of Habs Past right outside my door. What kind of drugs have I taken? I think I need more. Every Habs great there ever was out on my street. It was kind of eerie. It was kind of sweet. The ghosts of Habs Past, are they all out there? I think a few are in their underwear. Sticks over their shoulders, stuck through each skate blade, off towards the arena. Are they really going to play? How can I get tickets to see the show? Did they advertise this on the radio? Does anyone else see what I see? Or are they playing this game just for me? I can't believe my eyes tonight. The ghosts of Habs Past are quite a sight. Will they really play? Are they up to the task? Wow, there goes Jacques Plante, and he's wearing his mask. Is that Denny Brodeur taking a picture of Guy Lafleur being interviewed by Red Fisher? Elmer Locke and Toe Blake and Rocket Richard? Toute la gang dans ma rue en Villemard. I want to go out there and join the party with Boom Boom and Butch. And hey, even Doug Harvey. George Hainsworth walks by. Right outside my door. He had 22 shutouts by game 44. Joe Malone was an early star for the Habs, and he just arrived in a big yellow cab. Is that Sprague Cleghorn sticking his head out the door? His brother Odie is with him. So is Dickie Moore. How can this be? I think it's hurting my head. These guys aren't alive. I know they're all dead. How can they all be here out on my street? It is kind of eerie. It is kind of sweet. Is that Gump Worsley with his pads on? He's with Billy Hickey and I think Tom Johnson. What kind of cab is it that they took? Is it from far beyond? Don't you give me that look. It's happening, I tell you. I need a Budweiser. I'll ask Gumper to join me and Doug Wickenheiser. All you guys gather around. Let's all have a beer. If you died from the booze, you're dead. Have no fear. You can drink till your heart's content for tonight. Babe Siebert, Kenny Reardon, and Pidlapin yelled, all right. Morenz walks on over, smiles and raises his glass, and I notice that he is still wearing a cast. And if this all isn't crazy enough for you yet, up walks John Cordick and Jack Laviolette. They're having a convo with George and Sylvia, the Manthas, about the incredible run of the Florida Panthers. Hal Lako was there, and so was Bill Dernan. Carol Vadney was too, but he was obviously still hurting. I'm sorry, boys, but I think they filled me up with lead during my autopsy when I first became dead. Marcel Bonin and Billy Boucher stood up, had a stretch, and said, come on, boys, let's play. It's been so long since I put on the pads. I can't wait to get out there with all of you lads. Todd Ewan was there, so was Bunny LaRock, and everyone yelled, Bunny, show us your cock. So he pulled a chicken right out of his pants, and the cock turned around and started to dance. When a dancing chicken isn't the weirdest thing that night, what else could be a more amazing sight? The ghosts of Habs Past, that's what, gathered on my street. It was kind of eerie. It was kind of sweet. So what happens next? Can I come watch you play? They all looked at each other, and no, said Billy Ray. Bobby Russo stood up to try and argue my case. Lou Fontanato said no and punched Bobby right in the face. Bert Olmsted said, Rick, we'd all like to say thanks. They all nodded agreement and went to break ranks. I implored them to stay, to hang out with me. They said they could not. There's a game to play, see? I hung my head down and I said, that's all right. And I said, I had such a wonderful night. I don't want it to end or wake up from this dream. At least that's what I think this is. That's what it seems. That's when Zardy Zalapsky said, okay, come watch us play. We'll make you an honorable dead Hab today. Come down to the rink. You can sit in the stands. While I was deciding, they all shook my hand. Of course, I said yes. And I went with the boys. We all walked down the street. We tried not to make noise. Imagine if people could see what I see. The ghost of Habs past, walking down the street. It was kind of eerie. It was kind of sweet. That's my favorite. Gotta keep things organized. So what do you guys think of that one? Yeah, Joe, that's my favorite. I don't know why. And it's a dream. That's basically it. Honestly, I mean, that was a suggestion from somebody. I mean, I want to say Born to be a Hab suggested that one day. That is him or it's Bubble Tea. I'm not sure which. And I thought about it and I liked the idea. And then I sat down to write something very different than this. And then this is what came out, though. So, but it's not what I sat down to write at all. So, anyways, that's what happens. Who was it? There was somebody that had gone over and read my. Yeah, he's not here. I'm not going to read this then. I would like to read one last one. It is another favorite of mine, courtesy of Phil. The idea came from him. He fed me the first. Was it the first two lines? Yeah. Phil fed them to me, and I think I did the first. I'm not even sure if I did the first verse, but I ended up writing a full poem, and it's called "The Story of Rick," which you might have seen many times as a trailer. I'm going to read it for you again, and that's going to probably end it for us. It's called "The Story of Rick." I wrote it February 22nd and 23rd of this year. And it's a limerick poem. There once was a guy named Rick. He had a very big dick. Not true, by the way. He went all over this land with his dick in his hand. If you saw it, it would make you sick. It had a big bulbous head. If you saw it, it would fill you with dread. Soft, it was big. Hard, what the frig? If he entered, you'd surely be dead. He left a long... I'll read that again. He left a line of dead girls in his wake. Every new girl's life was at stake. He was the most wanted man all across this big land, and the Mounties hoped he'd make a mistake. Big Dick. Oh, I thought it was longer. Big Rick said, you'll never catch me. A mistake from me you'll never see. But one night on the prowl, his bladder did howl, and he desperately needed to pee. He unzipped his fly and let loose. He shivered and got bumps like a goose. His eyes closed as he peed. He didn't hear the hoof beats, and he was run over by a galloping moose. And that ended the story of Rick, who had the world's biggest dick. He was eventually found, squashed flat on the ground, and the Mounties who found him got sick. They got sick, believe it or not, because his dick survived the moose trot. It was still big and hard, cut off at his nards, and those Mounties have never forgot. The moral of this story seems to be, if you have a big dick, just don't pee in the path of a moose with your dick out and loose, and you won't end up dead just like me. I don't know why. I thought that was longer. I thought it was like 3 pages, not 2. All right. That will conclude our readings of poetry tonight. And we can chat a little bit before we go, about another 5 minutes. So any questions, anything you want to say, anything you want to, whatever. Yeah. And I'll read comments that I haven't gotten to yet. Where was I? Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. Franco says, I've been fortunate to meet many who were leading their communities because they had the gift to put pen to paper as poets in Iraq, for example, and many like me who froze at the blank page. Um, yeah, listen, I guess it's not for everybody. I kind of over my life, I could write. I just never had confidence in it, so I never really got into it. But every now and then I would write a poem for an occasion or whatever. Not till about 4 years ago did I start writing poetry again, Habs poetry. And yeah, I discovered I guess I have a talent for it. But I mean, I went 56 years without really giving it a try. So it's not for everyone, I guess, you know? It's like anything, right? Just because you're not good at that doesn't mean you're not good at something else. But I just never had confidence in my writing before now. So doing the channel, started writing scripts and stuff. That gave me confidence in my writing over time, I guess. Joe, you like the which one now? Oh yeah, no, I read your comment. That was for the Habs, the Ghost Habs pass. Um, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it again. There needs to be a part two. There will be there will be a part two. It's exactly it. The game. I just haven't gotten around to it. There will be a part two. Absolutely. The Ghost of Habs Past, I kind of agree with you, and it will be. It will be. As a matter of fact, I've kind of the reason I'm gathering all these, and I did this was I think I'm at the stage now where I'm going to go into stage 2 of my book. Is now I want to gather up all the poems, write little introductions to them of how either I thought of it, a little story about the poet, about the poem. I'm going to start doing that, and then that's going to be the book. Basically, is the how I wrote it or what was whatever, and the poem. And yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I've sort of moved into a different stage of the book. Oh, yeah, good you mentioned that. Yes, Jimmy Buffett passed away today. As a matter of fact, waiting to go on here, I was playing some Jimmy Buffett songs. So, and you know, really weird. I had to go to the pharmacy for my ex. She has some med I had to pick up. I'm waiting at line, and they have, you know, they've got news on this border. And that's what was there. Jimmy Buffett died. And I'm standing there and going, what? What a weird way to find that out. So yeah. I always I didn't like everything Jimmy Buffett, but there's some songs of his that I always liked. Always. Right? What did I listen to? Obviously Margaritaville, Cheeseburger in Paradise. I listened to a couple of other things I didn't know as well, but I mean those are just two of them that off the top of my head. I always love those songs. Franco says poetry is a special gift worth exercising, regardless the success. It's like me looking at my keyboard saying, "Come on, Franco, there's some Depeche Mode, and you just go for it." I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, when I first started writing the hockey stuff, I thought, "Who's hockey poetry? Who's interested in that?" And then I still did it. And then I realized that, you know, it might not have a huge audience, but it doesn't matter if it has a huge audience. Is exactly the point. As long as it has an audience, and as somewhere, and there's an audience for everything, right? The point is to do the work. The audience will be found. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So it gave me more confidence to write, and as I wrote more and more, I got more confidence in my writing. It got better, and you know, I'm improving as I'm going along. I got a long way to go. I don't think I'll ever live long enough to be where I would like to be, but that doesn't matter. What's the saying? Something in the journey. The value is in the journey, right? Of getting there. So it doesn't matter. You know, maybe in 50 years, I'll be the biggest poet. Who knows when I'm dead? But it doesn't matter. It just matters that I put it out there. And sometimes it has to come out. Like those songs I do. Now when I get a song in my head, it's like I curse myself. Oh no, because I gotta do it. I got to. Or else it'll sit there forever. And I have to do it to get it out. So I apologize in advance for some of it. Bob. So Bob says poetry is a very difficult thing to do. I like to think I have a decent vocabulary. And Bob has written, so I saw some of his poetry and he's good. But I stare at the blank page when I try to write. And I do that a lot. And I stare. If I can't come up with anything after a little while, I put it away. I do something else. A lot of times, I write something. Yes, I had an idea and whatever. But I've had poetry where I sat down. I'm going to write something, but nothing in my head really. And I spitball ideas, and you think, nothing's coming, and then something hits, and all I need is 2 lines. If I can match 2 lines together that go, they don't have to rhyme, but 2 lines. If I can start with 2 lines, I can do a poem, because that's all I start with anyway. I start with an idea, a couple of lines, and it goes from there, and I never know where it's going until I get there. So yeah, that's what writing's all about. Is there a famous poet that I like the most or are influenced by? I don't know if anyone in particular. There's a Canadian poet, and I always get his name wrong. Um, what's this? The poet. It's a very famous poem. The Killing of Dan McGrew, something like that. That guy I like. I like the guy who wrote Casey at the Bat. Love that poem. There's poems I like. I don't know that I have a favorite poet though. I never got into poetry that enough. I'll say enough. That if I would have when I was younger, I probably would have started writing a lot younger. I always felt I had a talent for it, but didn't have confidence in myself. And that's why I never wrote. Joe with a suggestion, a poem about the ghosts advising each current player. That's an interesting thought. Bob, you got it. Robert Service. I like Robert Service. Not everything he's written, but the one with Dan McGrew. That I don't know the full name of that. That's a great poem. The Killing of Dan. I think it's The Killing of Dan McGrew. Look it up. That's a great poem. So I got this through my dad. My dad could write. My dad always could write. Whatever. He just never did. But when he did, he wrote really good stuff. And I think I get that from him. But like I said, never had confidence in myself till I started doing this. And then this gave me some confidence and I started writing. And, believe it or not, I still don't have a lot of confidence. Like I write stuff and I go, but more and more I'm starting to realize that, what's good and what's not, No, I'm pretty sure it's The Killing of Dan McGrew, not Sam McGee. Cremation of Sam McGee. I think that's a different poem. I'll go over here. Give me a second and we'll see if I can find it. No, I didn't spell that right. Nope. The Shooting of Dan McGraw. Nope, that's a different person. I don't know. It's something like that. Most of us watched the recent Habs inner circle debating who they should draft. There was plenty of poetry in this. Any thoughts? Not really. I mean, I watched it. Um, my thoughts weren't about poetry. No, my thoughts were, um, I'm trying to remember now because there was something about the David Reinbacher. I had a thought of they had made up their mind of I shouldn't say anything because I don't remember what it was. There was something someone said about Reinbacher that stuck out to me, that I wanted to make a point of. But I have the video. I'm thinking of doing a video on this. Um, that's what stood out. Nothing about writing poetry from it. The promotion of Logan Mailloux. No, it was called. I'm sure it's The Killing of Dan McGrew. I'm pretty sure. The killing. I'm gonna find it. No. Huh. I'm sure it's not the shooting though. The Killing of Dan McGrew. No. Come on. Yeah, it's the shooting of Dan McGrew. Yeah, it's a long poem, but that's it. The Shooting of Dan McGrew by Robert Service. My dad had a book of his when I was a kid, and I read this book about his works and stuff like that. So I read some of his poems. That one always stood out to me. So that's an influence for me. Casey at the Bat would have been an influence. I can't think of any other poems that really stood out like those two did in my growing up years. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think my dad too. I don't know if it was his favorite, but one of his, and that's why he had a book. And I read it. So I like I said, I don't remember a ton of his work, but man, that poem always really stood out for me. And there's another poet, Robert Frost, I think his name is. I always get those two guys mixed up. So it's not Robert Frost, it's Robert Service. He's Canadian. I believe he's Canadian anyway. I think I'm wrong on that too. Ernest Thayer wrote Casey at the Bat. Which I only found that out when I did the poem. I gave credit. I mentioned him, and I looked up who was the author. I think as a kid, I never knew who Ernest Thayer was, except that I liked this poem. Franco says, so we're all been pre-framed to believe Habs are within Stanley Cup parade route in 2025. Should I continue buying the paint or wait? Don't count the chickens before they're hatched. Wait till they get there. We're predicting. Predictions don't always come true. And on that note, it's time to say goodbye for tonight. So listen, I won't be here on Wednesday. It's very unlikely. I have an appointment during the day. I don't know if I'll be home in time and everything. I don't want to have to rush. So I'm probably going to take Wednesday off. But then I'll be back next Saturday I'll be off finishing my little vacation. I'm kind of on vacation right now. So I'm going to try to get that poem that I haven't released out. I don't know if I'm doing anything else in the meantime till Friday. So, yeah, you probably won't see me doing anything. And that's it. It's maybe a little bit early, Bob, but I think we can start looking there. And I think they become contenders around there. Doesn't mean they're going to win the cup then, but I think they become contenders. Meanwhile, scrambled eggs for breakfast. That makes me think of Frasier and the song that Frasier's opening song to the series, the whatever the song they use. That's called Scrambled Eggs and something Scrambled Eggs and Ham or something. And he sings that, by the way. And that's it. All right. I'm going to take off. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I hope I didn't bore you with the poems. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll do this again one day when I have another 30 poems or so to choose from. So that's it for me. Thanks for being here. Till next time, stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of Saturday night because there's still some time left. And enjoy your Labor Day weekend because it's Labor Day weekend. Monday's a holiday. Enjoy that. I'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Till next time, peace out. Stay safe. Ciao, everybody. Have a good night. I don't know where my cursor is, though. There she is. Ciao, everybody.